private Facebook group, Krays Crime Lords of London, where you'll find content probably unavailable elsewhere. We're friendly and you'll be made very welcome. But keep it quiet, just between me and you, okay?
After I was released from Canterbury, I found my financial means very low at the time, and I was asked to meet various people that were connected with the twins. But at that time I didn't know they were actual members of the twin gang. The proposition was approached to meet in certain business deals. I agreed to this, and he told me to wait at home, and later on in time they'd get in touch with me. Well, mind you, I was on wages then. It wasn't a lot, about £20-25 per week.
Wages from whom?
I was on wages from the twins.
They paid you every week?
Oh yes, most definitely, yes.
For doing what?
Well, for nothing at that time, until they could find a business arrangement for me. And I know people that actually work for the Krays that were behind them at some times that never even got paid by the Krays, but they just wanted to be with the Krays to say that they work on the firm, but they never got a penny from them. Well, this is a fact. They're willing to protect them, to shoot people, and yet just to say that I work for the Krays.
Was that for prestige?
Well, a lot of people wanted to use their name. I mean, in business, you go up to a certain person and you're going to take a lot of money off him, and if he refuses, you can say, well, I work for the Krays. Well, with a thing like that, it stops a man dead in his tracks. He says to himself, well, what am I on here? If I don't pay, I'm sure to have them down on my shoulders.
How much money do you think came into the firm, on average? It's probably an impossible one to answer, but...
Well, it is. I wasn't that tremendously in with them. I was in with them right up to the degree whereas I was told what to do and who to do and where to be and what the case may be. But many, many thousands of pounds. I know many, quite considerable sums passed through my hands that went to them.
In fact, justice caught up with you and you went to prison.
Well, this is it, yes. Well, this is a penalty you pay.
How did they look after you when you were in prison?
Well, when I was away at the time, if I wanted anything inside, because they got the firm inside as well as outside, of course, if I was short of anything, or if I wanted anything done, like one time a person that did turn me over outside while I was still inside, if you understand what I mean. And of course I sent a message out, and the person that did turn me over was turned over himself by the members of the firm.
You mean beaten up?
Oh, so yeah, severely.
So how was discipline maintained in the firm?
Well, discipline was maintained in various aspects. I myself was disciplined once.
How?
Well, as I say, through business and everything else. I was in my office and they come up to see me. According to Reggie, I wasn't doing things right and that the money wasn't coming in quick enough. I argued with him. Through the argument, I took a slap round the face and pushed into the chair.
Yes, you were slapped by Reggie?
Yes.
You're a big man. You can presumably look after yourself. What did you do?
Well, what could I do? I mean, I know bigger men than me that bow down to them.
If you were slapped by the twins, you didn't slap back?
Oh, nobody did. I've yet to see a man who ever come up. There's only one man I know that did retaliate, but of course they got him in the end, and they cut him to pieces.
Was violence an everyday factor in living with the firm?
Oh, naturally. I mean, there was a person that was coming round causing aggravation with me. Well, not one fella, two or three. When I explained the position, Reggie said, well, you've got to do it the hard way. And of course, I was supplied with a firearm and...
With a
firearm, a gun.
What sort of firearm?
Well, it was a 410 shotgun, which I did actually use. Well, the police know of this because the police at that time were understanding because they knew the position I was in. And I explained this to Commander DeRose and to Nicola Reed. Of course, they said that owing to the fact the predicament I was in, because I've got a family and I've got to protect them, I had to use the gun, but I never used it actually at the person. I just used it to scare him away.
I've seen them fall out with each other on a couple of occasions. One night we was in the Great Morris, and the night before we'd been to the Astor Club, and at the time they had that Zorba the Greek film out, and Ronnie weren't with us, and we was all having a good evening, dancing, and really enjoyed ourselves. Quite a few of the fun. And the next night, me and Ronnie was in the Great Morris, and we just ordered a plate of beef, and they used to put cucumber around the edge of it. And Reggie come in and he picked a bit off my plate and ate it. And then he went to take a piece up of Ronnie's plate, and Ronnie plunged a fork into the back of his hand. And later that evening we went to the Widders, and we went upstairs in the public house above the pub, and Ronnie said to Reggie, "I'm going to shoot your brother-in-law." And Reggie said, "You'd do me a favour." And then Reggie said, "You'd do me a favour." And then Ronnie jumped up and he went over to punch Reggie, and Reggie punched him and knocked him down and broke his glasses and gave him two terrible black eyes. And all the firm jumped on him and split him up, and that was it. That was the end of that.
I was known as Reggie's man. Scotch Ian Barry was known as Ronnie's man. The twins themselves would never go on an organised robbery or a blagging or anything like that. They considered that the work of jailbirds, in their own words. But as soon as they heard of somebody who had it off, their first concern was, do they know anyone on the team? If they do, then they would go in for their whack, as it was known, their share. If he says, "I'm not going to give you any money," you don't jump all over him. You come back and you say he's not going to pay. Now, that would be a different mission. Go and get 3 or 4 guys and go and sit on his house or a pub or a club where he drinks and give him a talking to. Send him to the hospital for a couple of days and then talk to him again. That was everyday firm work.
They've been typecast now as criminal celebrities, as celebrity villains, and the picture people have of them is really the picture that came over in that film. And also, all the sort of gangster reminiscences which have come out of them, which really carry one's knowledge of them no further. Of course, they were gangsters, they committed murder and all the rest of it, but behind it all, I think there was the most terrible, sad story, which is of these two identical twins, and one of them was abnormal. He'd been damaged mentally as a child by getting, as far as I can make out, a combination of measles and diphtheria together. Ronnie wasn't normal. Reg was.
There's lots of people walking around in the East End of London that's been hit on the chin by Reggie. But I wouldn't say that about Ronnie. It'd be a different kettle of fish with Ronnie, because Ronnie wouldn't be happy with just hitting you on the chin. He'd look for you until he found you and he would hurt you. Simple as that. You would fear Ronnie. And there's no two ways about it. If Reggie sent for you and wanted to see you in Valence Road, you'd go round and see him, you'd have a cup of tea with him and you'd walk out. If Ronnie sent for you, you'd take 6 pairs of pants with you. That's the difference between the two of them.
He was feared, and anybody that said they wasn't frightened of him is telling lies. You know, I mean, I've heard loads of rubbish in the papers and seen all the rest of it. And I tell you what, if the man was alive today, they would be shitting themselves, you know, in case he did ever get out. I mean, let's put it this way. I wasn't frightened of him because I knew how to handle him. But if he had the hump on me, I'd keep well away until Reggie sorted it out.
Reg, all his life, had this thing that he had to look after this sick, unstable, identical twin brother, and he did look after him. The only trouble was the unstable, mentally sick twin was the dominant. If Ronnie hadn't been quite so balmy and hadn't killed George Cornell because he's supposed to have called him the fat poof, they'd be stone-rich geezers. They were in most of the frauds in the East End, a lot of protection, a lot of rackets. They really, really didn't need to kill people. But once that killing had happened, then that increased their terror ratio enormously, you see, particularly with Ronnie. Francis Bacon, incidentally, who also knew him, said he had the most frightening face he'd ever seen, which I think from Francis Bacon is quite something. He was a paranoid schizophrenic and he was mad. But he was fascinated by this whole illusory world of gangsterdom. For Ronnie, I think the barriers between real crime and film crime were very blurred, and I think he often stepped over it.
I know what fear is. I had night over what Ronnie Kray done to me. And I'm bloody glad he's dead and fuck him, you know? I've been in pubs in the East End and the Krays would come in and the pub had empty. People were so afraid of them. They was cutting and carving people up. You got idiots out here. Oh, they couldn't have been so bad. They want to realise all the life them Kray twins are bloody wrecked.
By the end, they were in a sort of mad gangster movie, you know, Stanley Kubrick plus. Reg was the one who always had to carry the can. Reg always trailed behind, caught, cleaning up, doing the dirty work, looking after his brother. I think you can be too silly and sentimental about calling Reg a victim. He had a good time, he did what he wanted to, he did a lot of very wicked things. He'd be the first to admit himself. But the key part of his defence is his relationship with his identical twin. But then again, you see, he won't ever allow this to be mentioned himself. He won't bring it up himself. He won't talk about it himself. As far as he's concerned, he and Ron were one.
The Kray twins were finally brought to justice. Throughout their lives they had stuck together, plotted together, fought together, even killed together. And now they were going to prison together.
The strange thing about the Krays, and it's what is in a way at the heart of their downfall, is that the strength which they got from being identical twins. But at the same time, it was that which destroyed them in the end.
The Krays' trial created a sensation.
I was very shocked by the change in their appearance, because you could see Reggie's life was written on his face, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't enjoying it at all. I think he was terrified. He knew that he was not going to see the light of day again. And Ronnie was off to the moon. He really didn't have a clue what was happening to him. Ronnie saw me from the dock, and he wrote me a little note, which he handed down, saying, "Dear Miss Lethbridge, you're more beautiful than ever. When I get out of this, I'm going to take you to the moon." And I'm quite certain that he believed it.
The twins were sentenced to 30 years imprisonment, the longest murder sentence handed out by an English court. They became Britain's first celebrity convicts. Over the years, the Krays' notoriety grew into a legend. A stream of people came to visit them.
I went to visit Ronnie in Broadmoor after he'd been probably in for about 5 years. I had tea with him. And he really was the Queen Mother then. He came in and motioned one to sit down, nice table, poured the tea, very gracious host. Then said, "Would you like a meat pie? They warm them up lovely."
They were famous. They were names, they were celebrities, they were up there.
Ronnie would have done it all again. The difference between Reg and Ronnie would have been a gangster if you put Ronnie Kray in America, France, Germany, anywhere you want, Italy, he would have been a gangster. Ronnie Kray couldn't be nothing else.
In my head, Ronnie Kray, the picture of Ronnie Kray mingles in with Al Capone. I think he wanted to be Al Capone all his life, and within my head, he kind of made it, to be honest.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly, moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see